welcome to the channel. I want to talk about different proteins and what I eat as a vegan to sustain muscle and work out in the gym how I do. Because there's this lot of misconception about protein, about you need stupid amounts of it. You know, obviously if you're bodybuilding in a competition, it's a completely different kettle of fish. If you're the average Joe Blogs who just wants to maintain a nice physique, it's not that difficult as a vegan. So there's 2 days to me, right? And I've written down the 2 days. So this is me because I've worked out my calorie intake and how much I burn, etc., etc., by how much I walk. And you can do this with a whole host of things. There's an app called, I think it's iFitnessPal. It's all called iFitnessPal. I can't look because I'm videoing with the phone that it's on. And in there you can scan everything in, and it, you know what I've done with that is because I want to maintain my weight, and that's what I've set the app to do, to maintain my weight. And then I eat a slight deficit of about 100 off of what it recommends, and I seem to be gaining muscle and still maintaining the same weight, so therefore still losing fat. So my body fat's dropping, but slowly. I don't want it to drop in weeks. It drops over a course of 6 months. It's perfect. You don't feel crap then, and it's not as hard. So I have 2 days. I have a non-gym day and have a gym day. Now on a non-gym day, my daily intake is 2,110 calories, and that breaks down into macros of 50% carbohydrates, 20% protein and 30% fats. And what that breaks down into grammage, I've got them written down here. So 108 grams of protein, 270 grams of carbs, 25 grams of fibre. Now, at being vegan, you always get more fibre. It's not a bad thing, because if you're eating a shit ton of protein, you need the fibre. It's the only way it comes out. Sorry to be crass. 81 grams of sugar, 72 grams of actual normal fat, and 24 grams of saturated fat. And that's 2,110 calories. And that's what I eat 3 days of the week, because actually probably 2 days of the week, because one of those days is usually a cheat day because it's the weekend. The other days I go to the gym, and I average, according to my workout builder, 650 calories I burn in the gym. Do I? Probably burn about 400 in the gym, maybe 500 at a push, and you know, but it overcalculates sometimes, I feel, and I think I've found a sweet spot. So on a gym day, I eat on average 2,673 calories. I actually sometimes eat that much. Most of the time I eat about 2,500. And that's because I'm in a different place now. I'm not saying if you're a new person going to the gym, do not do that. I'll explain why in a minute. So my proteins are 130 grams on these days, 334 carbs, 25 grams fibre, because that doesn't really change, 100 grams of sugar, 89 grams of fat, and 29 grams of saturated fat. And that's what I do. And that has maintained my physique at the same body weight, but I'm still losing fat for the last 6 months. So that's great. It's working for me. Now, I've been going to the gym consistently, and that's another key thing. You have to be consistent. Until you've been consistent at the gym for at least 6 months, do not do anything to your diet. Don't eat more or less on gym days. If you're new going to the gym, say it's your first day today, right? You're going to go 3 days a week for an hour, for argument's sake. Do a full body workout, basically the same routine every time you go to a gym, with a degree of consistent overload, and just carry on eating exactly the same as what you were eating. You will see a weight loss because you're now more active, right? So if you just do that for 6 months and don't even think about the diet, you'll lose weight. Unless you're stupidly overweight, obviously that's a bit different. You're gonna have everyone's different, obviously, and everyone has different metabolic rates and da 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 da. But say for argument's sake, you eat on average 2,300 calories a day, and you're what, a stone, 2 stone overweight, and you've got a reasonably active life, and you just want to lose a couple of stone and feel a bit better about yourself. Well, you don't have to go on a diet of like 1,500 calories. Just eat the same. Just do more. It's easier, right? So if you can make yourself do more 3 times a week for an hour and a half each day, and maybe walk 2,000 steps more than you usually walk 5 days a week, only Monday to Friday when you work, or when you work, that in itself will make you lose weight for at least 6 months. After 6 months of you going to the gym 3 times a week and you've gone consistently and only maybe missed 3 or 4 sessions because of whatever, yeah, then you start worrying about what you're eating and whether you eat more on different days. Because the hardest thing about working out at a gym and weight loss, if you like, is the consistency of moving more. Because we all like food, I like eating food, so I'm not going to restrict what I eat, I'm just going to move more. And at the same time, it also makes you feel better about yourself, because, you know, we all have a degree of vanity within us, of course. We shouldn't have, but we have. And some of that is to do with health as well, because there's a point, you know, and when you look at these professional bodybuilders and people like that, you know, a woman having a 6-pack is not normal, okay? And I don't mean that it's not normal. I mean, it's not a natural thing for a woman to be able to do easily, get a 6-pack, because we have to carry fat, we get pregnant, we do all these other things, right? There's those are reasons as to why, you know, men don't usually have a 6-pack showing necessarily as scorned as some of these ones that you see. You will see them more because they have less body fat and store it in different places. But these social media body types you see are either people with stunningly good genetics, people who are professional athletes competing, or people who are taking things they shouldn't be taking, things that enhance their physique. I'm not taking anything. It's just about, I basically do it because I want to stay fit. I like what muscles look like. I have gender issues, and I'm nearly 50 and going through the menopause, and you know, it just makes me feel better in myself, and we all have reasons as to why we do it. So if you're starting out, don't put yourself through all that crap. Just go to the gym 3 times a week for 6 months. I'm going to make a video about that next stage at some point, what you do when you're a little bit, you've been going to the gym 6 months and you're going to change your diet. Until then, don't. But what I do, in order to, instead of having, because when I first started going to the gym, I used to come home, I'd be like, I need a fry up. And I sometimes would eat, when I say a fry up, a grill up, a vegan grill up, I'd eat another bit of toast than I normally would because I was hungry, because you're so hungry. And I've probably done that for a month or 2, and I still lost weight. And then I reeled my diet in and started to realise, actually, I do like oats. So with my oats, what I do is I get, like, obviously porridge, right? Just weigh out your 50 grams you want, right? Take whatever proteins, like I put a bit of each in, stick it in it. I use this kind of milk because it's got protein in it. Right, I don't use half milk, half water. I stick this on top of it as well. 2 squares of that to make it a different flavour. My mate gave me this because I don't like the taste of it. I put a little bit of this in it. I mean a little scoop of it. I then put milled seeds, mixed seeds and nuts, flax seeds on top of it. I put cacao, maca powder, and then if I want to, instead of having 888 calories for my breakfast and 43 grams of protein, if I put this on, that's the 880, because this is the new granola out that's really high in protein and only got really like stupidly expensive. I was given it by my partner because they work for a certain supermarket. So I'm just putting a little scoop of it on top of it, like 30 grams, half a portion of it. But it's really high in like each serving's got 6.7 grams of protein, and the sugar's really low. Where is it? Carbohydrates 33.3, and only 4 grams of sugar, 8.5 grams of fat. So it's a good alternative. But I put this on gym days. So the porridge on gym days, I have this on top of it. So it's 882 calories. Normally it's 752 calories, which keeps me sustained to about 2:30, I suppose. Now I work late shifts, so it's really awkward for me. I get up in the morning, I go to the gym at 7:20. I'm there for 2 hours. I go fasted, I come home, I eat my porridge, get myself ready to work, I go to work for midday. and then I get hungry in the afternoon. So then at work, obviously I don't want to eat a ton of food at work. So I take things like this. So these are like, as you see, they're bread. Each one of those has, I think, 5 grams of protein in, and they're only something ridiculous like, oh, that's not 5 grams of protein, what is it? It's something ridiculous like, I think, 63 to 70 grams of calories in each one. I'm trying to think because I can't remember it. When I scan this, it breaks it down. I'm pretty sure it's 63 calories. So that means there's about 3 grams of protein in each one. So you can have 3 of those. So that's 10 grams of protein. You have 3 of those. That's what, 180 calories. And then I'll get some meat alternative. This one, it was cheap, so I thought I'd try it. It looks actually quite putrid, but hey, I get something like this, usually a squeaky bean one or something, some kind of protein. And then I haven't got it out, lettuce, or spinach. Big bag of spinach, because spinach has a shit ton of protein in it for the amount of calories in comparison. Obviously you have to eat a ton of it to get, like a bag of spinach. If you eat a bag of spinach in every one of your meals, there's about 5 grams of protein more in your meal. And you know what spinach, it goes from there to this. There is a slight misconception with spinach that it's not as high in protein as they thought it was, but it still is pretty high. The other thing I do is the Greg Doucette thing. Greg Doucette recommends it. You can buy this in little bags. So this is 90 grams, and per serving is 130 calories. So there's 230, 390 calories in that. If you ate the whole of it, you wouldn't eat the whole of it, would you? But a bag of actual popcorn is 130 calories, 28 grams in this type. But this is so you can buy these in packets. I think if you buy them in packets in Sainsbury's, it's about 14 grams. Yeah, I don't know what the per serving's higher on this, but it is. Unless it's probably got more sugar on it than the other ones. They were like 83 calories a packet. See, but the thing is with these, it fills you up quick for not much calories. So if you ate the whole bag of that, you couldn't eat the whole bar of this. So that's 592 calories if you ate all of that. Well, that's 392 calories. So you're better off eating that. Look at the size. Look, that's got to go in your stomach. All the contents of that compared to that, this is bigger. I know it shrinks down a bit, but it's still got to break down. This is dense, isn't it? So you're actually better off eating this. And things like this, I eat Twiglets. I like Twiglets. It gets my B12 in. I eat them because there's 3 grams to 3 grams of fat to 3 grams of protein in each bag. They're not very big. And I think that a bag of Twiglets is 100 calories. So a packet of these are 79 calories. Now the fat in these are 1.9, but the protein's 2.2. So at least you've got some protein going in. So if you want a treat, there's quite a lot of salt in these. So they're all right, vegan ones. They are actually vegan, believe it or not. These are vegan as well, even though they're made in a factory that may contain milk. They've got no milk in them. It just says it may contain milk because they're in the same factory. But they're 204 calories a biscuit, which is quite high. And there's 7.4 grams of fat in them. But you've got your calcium, your magnesium, and your iron in them, which is good. They've been fortified. But there's 2.6 grams of protein. Now these taste like, Nutella or the inside of Ferrero Rocher. They taste like that. So if you want a treat, then add that instead of that. So if you have two blocks of that, it's the same calories. Once again, this is denser, it'll fill you up more. And it's not too high in sugar. I don't eat these all the time. This is processed stuff. Yeah, but if you want convenient, quick shit, that's what you've got to do. Things like this as well, like rice. I'll eat the whole of this. There's 202 calories in each one. These are 35p at the moment. It's the only reason why I'm bought them like this. Otherwise, you'd buy a bag of rice. But you can, a portion of rice has got 4.1 grams of protein and 1.4 grams of fat. The carbs are high, but the thing is, there's this misconception with carbs, right? Unless you're on keto because you're diabetic or something, you're trying to change things. But don't restrict your carbs. Your muscles need your carbs in the gym, right? There are reasons for restricting carbs. But when you first start out going to the gym, don't restrict your carbs. Just don't do it. It might be something you get into eventually, but don't start with. You need to understand how glycogens work in muscles and how whatever else. You know, when someone's diabetic, they're usually overweight, so therefore there's a lot of fat, subcutaneous fat or whatever it is, on top of muscles and around different parts of the body. And when the body eats sugar, the pancreas creates insulin and helps break that sugar down. I think it does it in the liver or something along those lines. But anyway, the sugar's absorbed into these pockets within the muscle called glycons, when glycons are like a storage, like a battery cell that store energy for when the muscle's under duress. So when you do a sprint or you do something that's enduring, it uses the glycon storage, and that's why weight trainers go on about they look flat some days because they haven't had enough carbs, because their muscles aren't carb loaded. It bloats you a little bit. People automatically assume now that they're getting fat. I was talking about glycons and diabetics, and I realised that I went off on a complete tangent and started talking about muscle flatness, so I needed to add this little bit in here and say, when I was talking about diabetes, is if you've got high fat around your muscles, the muscles can't absorb the sugar into the glycones as effectively or as efficiently as someone who's got lower body fat. So therefore it stays in your bloodstream longer, burning your pancreas out over time, and your body needs to flush the sugar out, and it causes loads of other host of things. So that's one of the things, the reasons why you restrict carbs, so then the system hasn't got to deal with that so much. But when you're lower in body fat, you're fine, because I had the same issue. I thought I was diabetic at one time because I was, could smell sugar in my urine even. The moment my body fat dropped, I can now eat sugar. Obviously, I know, because I'm not used to eating stupid amounts of sugar all the time, I do eat less sugar than I probably, like this app tells me I can eat, 100 grams of sugar. I probably average 70 grams a day, maybe less than that. And that's not done on purpose, just because I don't crave it as much. And I think that might be why, because I subconsciously know that I need to, my pancreas is not on its last legs, but it's been battered in the past, and I've pulled the fat out, and now my body's processing stuff a lot more effectively. I don't get up in the middle of the night going to the toilet, and I don't need to drink excessive amounts of water like I used to. So that, I digress back to where I was, so I'll stick this little clip in the middle of what I was talking about, because I watched it back and went, what? Obviously, when you weight train as well, there's another thing that people don't think, right? You take elastic bands and you do this, and you create friction, and it gets hot, right? So, and when you do this, it gets hot. So if you burn your skin, you create a blister over your skin and put water around it. So when you're in the gym doing this to your muscles, you're tearing your muscles, and your body puts water around the muscle. That's why you need to drink a shit ton of water and sleep and all these other things, because your body then has to repair that damage. And it puts water around it because it's got hot. So you bloat, right? So you will put on weight some days. So some days you might be 10 stone 7, the next day you might be 10 stone 10. It doesn't mean you put weight on, it means your body's dealing with what you've just done to it. So don't look at the scale. It's the other thing. Measure things. Measure your waist, measure your legs, measure your arms, measure certain things. Look at how your clothes fit. For the first 6 months to a year of going to the gym, don't take any notice of the scale. It will go down over a sequential time of whatever. Take your weight once a week, maybe once a month, and don't get hung up on it if it's a little bit higher than the week before. Look at what you feel like and what you look like. And this is the thing where people go wrong with. The other thing that's good, is things like mixed beans and chickpea. If you whack this in anything, and obviously flavour it, put that with rice, can't go wrong. There's so much protein everywhere. And the other thing is you need fat and you need protein. You just need whatever calories you need to sustain so if I burn 210 calories, I need to eat 210 calories. It doesn't matter if it's all fat or if it's all protein or if it's all, if I did that, it wouldn't be very good for my mineral levels and my, well-being, would it? But, you have to have a balanced sort of kind of mixed diet in order to get everything that you require. But it doesn't matter if you eat fat. Your body won't store the fat because you've eaten fat and not protein, right? Basically, by going to the gym and consistently overloading the muscle, when your body runs out of fuel, it then eats fat or muscle, whatever it comes across, to burn, because you'll die otherwise, wouldn't you? So that's when you go into ketosis, and it eats whatever it could get its hands on. Well, if you're using that muscle 3 times a week, the body learns not to break that muscle down so much because it's more effort putting the muscle back, so it might as well take the fat. You're kind of almost teaching your body to eat more fat than you would do muscle. That's why people say do cardio, because cardio instantly puts your body into a place where it has to burn fat, otherwise you would just couldn't operate. So it would burn the fat. You're using all the muscles, it would burn the fat. Yeah, when your heart rate gets over a certain beatage, it burns fat naturally. So that's why they say do cardio. I do steady state cardio all the time with walking. You can do it in all different ways, but by weight training and putting your body under constant overload, you're in effect teaching your body to keep the muscle, because it's not cost effective to break that muscle down every day and put it back because you're using it. I might as well take the fat, and that's how it works. So that's all I'm going to say for now, because I feel like I've gone on for ages, but I'll go more into diet and stuff later on. And when you're more advanced, if you're a beginner in the gym, don't worry about your diet, just eat balanced diet, not too many calories, not stupidly, you know, I don't say eat 2,000 calories only. If you eat 2,500 to 3,000 calories a day, carry on eating that and go to the gym. You know, if you can knock out a couple of things and lower it by a couple of 100 calories, do so, but don't go without. Don't eat more either. It's a fine line, and it's a little thing, but the fundamentals are, what you burn, you eat. If you don't eat what you burn, then you store it, and if you burn more than you eat, then you burn it. So calories in, calories out is all it is. So